What up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Cafecito and Canes. Well, the portal has been absolute chaos, and I need to bring some good guests on to talk about it. We got some great acquisitions over the weekend. I wanted to focus mainly on that. We've had some exits, obviously, which, that needed to happen. Some surprised me, but we'll get into that now when I bring on my guests. Right. So first guest, we've had him on the show many times before. He's a great guy. I could talk to this guy about Canes football like literally for hours. It's my boy, Mike McCoy. Hey, that rhymed. My boy, Mike McCoy. How's it going,
John?
man?
Happy belated birthday, man. Thank you very much for having me. Always a great time. As you said, whenever we get to talking Canes, it'll be 60, 90 minutes, and it felt like 30. So
it goes by so fast. Yeah. Crazy. But no, glad to have you on. And my second guest, we had to do a twofer for this one, is anybody who's watching right now knows this guy. He shows up in your YouTube feed literally daily because he puts out shows daily, sometimes multiple times a day. I don't know how he does it. He might not be human. I don't know, but Mr. Alex Dono.
Hey guys, John, happy belated. I'm glad Mike alerted me to that because the only birthdays I keep track of really are my own, my son's, sometimes my wife's. I may have missed that one.
I was going to say, I would hope your wife.
Happy birthday, Mike. It's always nice to see you.
Yes, sir. Alex, what's up, man?
Yeah, no, great to have you guys on. And Mitch always brings good comments. I hate seeing these young players leave because the portal and getting pushed out like that. No time to develop. He's becoming more of a dabble in this anti-portal mentality. Well, I wanted to definitely get into that with you guys because when I was first thinking about tonight's show back on Sunday. That was 48 hours ago. 48 hours is an eternity in college football. So much can change. And 48 hours ago, we had a lot of portal victories. We brought in some major upgrades that they hit the nail with these pickups because they addressed depth issues, guys that may start. These are plug and play potential impact guys, but then certain guys left. Dono, I'll start with you. You've been talking about this again multiple times a day since over the weekend. How have you felt both with the guys that have departed and with the guys that we brought in? And I guess just in general, like how you feel about all this?
Yeah, the first thing, I think it's important to see the big picture on this when some fans refuse to, and some rival fans are just going to, banter anytime Miami loses a player. But I do strongly feel that there's a net positive. I think that the players who have come in outweigh the players who have gone out. I also don't believe Miami is done. I think there could be a couple more additions specifically on defense before the portal is done. But with that said, even if I feel that there's a net positive, there's always some players you hate to lose. And I think the point that Mitch made in the chat, it's a fair one. It's always a very complicated issue because, but he's right. Like anytime you see, a young player who's entering their second year, there's been a few of those now who have left. Jaden Wayne being another prominent one, and then Marcellus Pulliam being the more recent one this morning. Anytime you see a young player that is obviously not fully developed, who was a high rated recruit, especially Wayne. I mean, Jaden Wayne was a borderline 5-star guy. I think Pulliam was a high level 3-star, but still a really good player. There's always going to be a sense of regret. Like what could this player have been? And you have seen more experienced players at their position come in. Like in the previous transfer portal window, Miami brought in Elijah Alston, who's an edge rusher. So someone might simplify it and say, well, okay, they brought in like an experienced guy that kind of took a spot away from a younger guy. Here's a couple days ago, Miami brings in Jalen Alderman, who plays linebacker, an experienced guy, and then Pulliam plays linebacker. So, sometimes you look at sort of the simplest explanation, like, hey, they got an older guy who took this young guy's spot. Now we don't get to see the young guy develop. That does happen sometimes, especially in this era where teams are grabbing transfers left and right. It's completely out of control. So sometimes that does happen. Other times, you have to think about the bigger picture here in terms of where these young players are at this moment. Now, it's complicated because I don't know what Jaden Wayne is going to develop into. And I think he could develop into a great player. I don't know what Marcellus Pulliam is going to develop into, but you also do have to consider where are these guys or where were these guys on the depth chart right now? And I don't think either of them was on the 2 deep. So that's something else you have to consider. So then that creates a situation where the coaches have to kind of consider, okay, like this guy could definitely be really good. Is he going to be an impact guy on the field this year? Probably not. So if we have an opportunity to get someone who is, and then that player can also look at it, because I don't want to assume everybody gets forced out. Sometimes players decide to leave it as a two-way street. So the player can also look at it and say, yeah, I'm young, but I want to play right now. And if I can't play right now here, maybe I can play somewhere else. So that's where this gets so complicated. So I like what Mitch said about, going Dabo or whatever, because obviously he doesn't take transfers. He has the complete opposite view on this. But, most teams do use the portal, and most teams, obviously Miami is included in that. If you have players available that may help put you in a better position to win right now. And I think that's a big emphasis for Miami guys, because Cam Ward looks so good. He looks so good that, we got this guy for 1 year, 1 year with Cam Ward. I think that there would be a lot of regret for Mario Cristobal if he didn't do whatever he can to put the best possible team around Cam Ward, because you only get him for 2024 and then he's off to the NFL. So, but this is going back to the greater point here. It can be tough. Like, we celebrate when good players come in, but then, when guys like Wayne and Pulliam, who I've covered these guys so much from their recruitment, it's sad to see them go. And it's, depending on what kind of a mood I'm in, I feel a different sort of way about it. Like sometimes I'm like, man, this sucks to lose these guys. So it's hard. I understand the feeling.
Yeah. And Mike, how you feeling about just this whole, the landscape just changing the way it has so drastically? Like
nah, man, like, it's funny that Mitch brought that up. And I mean, Donald hit it on the head with everything that he said. So, I mean, just to add to that, I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, it sucks, because, I mean, at this point, you should know I can't get attached to these guys. We all have our favorite recruits. We all have, I like the guy that we like, this guy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But you can't go out and buying their jersey and hoping this and that, because they could be gone for whatever reason, whenever they want to. And like Donald said, it could be on the player's side or the coach's side or whatever. So it's funny that he brought that up, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, I kind of miss watching our guys develop, watching him, get a little bit playing time here, then making a statement game, and then he has a breakout season, and all of a sudden he's off, and then he gets drafted. It's like, draft day just happened. It's like Christmas for college football fans. Like, I miss that. It's awesome. But, college football has changed for the better or for worse, however you want to look at it. That's one. The other thing is, you got to look at it this way. And it just popped into my head, something that Donald said. Remember when Bama used to, like, gray shirt guys? Like, remember what a gray shirt was? It was when you would keep a guy stashed pretty much. And I think it was like not give him a scholarship, but then he can get the scholarship next year. I think that's kind of how it worked.
They would come in like in the spring semester instead of fall. They would work it some weird way. Yeah.
Right. And it was perfectly fine. Not saying Miami's doing that, but Miami's making kind of like big boy moves with their roster without having won, like the big boys are winning. You get what I'm saying? Like, teams that just finished 5-7 and 7-5 don't do this. And what I mean by don't do this is, you're talking about Jaden Wayne, Cyrus Moss left, Javonte Citizen left. These are guys that out of their senior high school senior years, they were wanted by everybody, right? And probably still are. But the point I'm trying to make is, you don't make moves like this unless you can, unless you're able to, right? So yes, we're bringing the experienced guy, the Elijah Alstons. That's great. He has how many years? 1 or 2? 1, right?
I think one.
I'll check that out really quick. I think 2 actually.
Okay. Whatever the case is, it's less than 4. So you're sacrificing or 3, because guys might leave after a third year if they're really really good. You're sacrificing that, but it's okay because okay, I hated that Pulliam decided. I was just like, oh my god, because the flash plays that he had, especially towards the ends of last season, and even in the bowl game, I think he looked pretty good. I was excited. The line, I've been saying it, the linebacker room is the position group that I'm most excited to see entering the season. Yes, quarterback Cam Ward, receiver has a lot of promise, but the way the youth and the speed at linebacker has me so
Yeah.
hyped. I can't wait. So when we lost him, it sucked. But then, Bobby Pruitt is blossoming before our eyes. So it's like you can afford to do that. And when was the last time Miami was in that position? So it's give and take. The portal giveth and the portal taketh. You know how they say. But it's just a weird feeling, and you got to roll with the punches. We as fans have to change the way college football is changing. It sucks, but what can you do?
Yeah. Mike, has it become like basically if you don't, you don't show me something as a freshman, we might be looking elsewhere. Like,
It is like it's almost like corporate America. Like you got to do what's best for the bottom line.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So let's just say, right? You look at a guy and it's like, okay, he's getting paid this much, but not really producing like how whatever. But then again, like let's take Citizen for example. I don't know how much he was making, right? But let's just say, it had to do or Wayne or whatever, or both of them. Javonte was hurt. You know what I mean? So it's not really his fault. But then again, you bring in a guy like Martinez, and then Trevante Citizen knows what he can be like. I wouldn't want to wait either. I would want to show people that I'm healthy, right? So it just you got to look. You guys said it. They're in win now mode, and if it wasn't for Cam, I don't know if we would be as aggressive, but we are, and we know why because Donald said 3,000 times you got him for 1 year. You got to maximize it. You have to maximize it because this is the best available quarterback in the portal, the best available quarterback that had snaps that played because there was guys ranked ahead of him that didn't even play in the transfer portal. So you got to hit. If he likes a receiver, he says, I like Mr. Brown over there. You go get Mr. Brown. You know what I mean? So it's about the bottom line, bro. And Mario, he gets it. He gets it. And you know what? Let's roll.
Yeah, man. And by the way, Elijah Alston, I believe he's heading into his 5th year. He enrolled at Marshall in 2019. So,
okay.
Yeah, he's got 1 more year. But hey, grown man,
year.
That makes a difference. 23-year-old edge rusher.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's going in on his money year, so he's going to ball out.
Exactly. Alex, I'll ask you this. So, of course, we brought in 4 huge pickups. Obviously, the headliner being Martinez, who's going to be our starting running back in all likelihood. Then you got the 3 other ones. Of the 3 other ones, who would you say was your favorite, and like who could make the biggest impact of those 3? Because they could be anything from a starter to a role player to they could surprise us. Of those 3, who was your favorite?
Yeah, it's definitely for me. It's a debate between Jalen Alderman, the linebacker, and Sam Brown, the receiver. I probably give the slight edge to Brown. Partially because I love the fact that he and Cam Ward have already spent some time extracurricular doing workouts together. So I feel like that's someone that Ward has his fingerprints on, where I don't know if Ward is really, picking and choosing defensive guys. But I know in the case of Sam Brown that they connected together. They're both from Texas. They got together and worked out. And so I wouldn't imagine that they would have made this move if this isn't something that Ward either requested or something that Ward offered his blessing on. And, again, I could say this about both Brown and Alderman. I don't necessarily guarantee that either of them start, but I could see a path to starting for both of them because I thought we'll stick with the receivers. Obviously Xavier Restrepo, of course, is going to start in the slot. I think Jacoby George is going to start as he did last year. And then, Isaiah Horton I'm not for sure that he won't start now because he was getting starters reps in the spring and he looked really good. Now, the thing that Zay doesn't have that Brown has is he doesn't have as much experience. Brown he was a starter all last year. He played a lot the prior year at Houston. So he's got a lot more stats. He's got a lot more proven stuff than Horton. But I would imagine that, and Dawson likes to rotate receivers a lot. That whoever starts, they're both going to play a ton. And that addition of Brown, so important because they wanted to add another guy with proven experience to the receivers room. And also like his size dimensions, because Miami's got a lot of receivers on the roster, and I take nothing away from the talent. I think it's a very talented receiver room, but a lot of guys with similar body types, like the 5'9" to 5'11s, and then you really only had one guy. I say one because Michael Redding's a little bit bigger, but he doesn't play that much. But Isaiah Horton at 6'4" is like the one guy who's got that boundary type of size. And Sam Brown is pretty big at 6'2", about 200. So I think the size profile and the experience profile make him an interesting add. But I was also kind of tempted to go with Alderman, because I think that's someone who, I don't necessarily know if he takes Wesley Bissaint's starting job away, but I think they're both going to play a lot of snaps, right? I mean, Kiko is going to play almost every snap, but then both Bissaint and Alderman, I think, can play a lot, because like Alderman, this guy, I mean, Louisville, technically, I'm not on every ranking, but I think like total defense, they were ranked ahead of Miami last year defensively, and he started every game for a team that had a statistically better defense than Miami did last year. And he knows D Nick, having played for Nicholson a couple years ago. So I think he's going to play a lot as well. And, we could also talk about Diani Hill, but I don't know if he's going to have quite the impact that these other guys will.
Yeah, no, that Samuel Brown pickup, he reminds me a bit of like the type of role I think he's going to fit a little bit like KJ Osborne. Decent size, maybe not have blazing speed, but a reliable target that is going to get you like a certain amount of catches, certain amount of yards. He's going to be like a second Mr. Reliable next to X. You know what I'm saying? Mike, what do you think of the pickups? Who was your favorite? Like,
I don't know, man. I love, like I talked about linebackers earlier. That's the room that I'm most excited about. So, Alderman, that was a big one. I love Martinez's running style, because it feels like he's a throwback. I've only seen highlights. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I even saw a quarter of Oregon State football. I didn't. And you can't get much from highlights, but he looks like a throwback. I think he has underrated speed. He's not the fastest guy I knew, but I think he's got the type of speed that's, and I'm not comparing him. I'm just saying, like, I'm not comparing him to Frank Gore as a runner, but Frank Gore wasn't the fastest guy, but he really almost never got caught from behind. Kind of like Emmitt Smith. And I know these are the top three greatest running backs ever, right? I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying, like, you never really almost saw those guys get beat from behind or caught from behind. And, the clips that I saw him in, it looked like he had some giddy up, you know what I mean? But he's a big dude. I think he's pushing 230. I love that about him. I think he's a Mario type of guy, because he just plays like a chip on his shoulder. And the other part is, I don't know how much. I know everybody likes to rank on DJ Ugalele, or however you pronounce his last name. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but I don't know what the passing game situation was for Oregon State last year. But I think that was the offense relied more on the running back than it did DJ. I think just because
you're definitely correct. Yeah, I'm not an Oregon State expert. I think I watched two of their games last year, and Martinez was the guy who he was the one who really carried that offense.
So he was productive, and you knew he was getting the ball. That to me sounds like a stud. Like, if you know that somebody's coming and they can still do their thing, those are the makings of a stud. So I like that, but I've always been a fan of bigger body receivers. I love that, especially. And guys, go back and count, because I am not lying to you. I want to say Lashley was one of them. Lashley, how long was Lashley here? 2 years?
I think 2 years, yeah.
Okay. So in both Lashley years, and in the lone, I forgot his name already. The OC that
Dan Enos?
No, after him. Mario's first hire at OC was, what's his name? From Michigan. Gaddis. We did not throw fades. I promise you, when we were in the red zone,
you are absolutely correct.
Through fades. And don't give me it had nothing to do with we didn't have the bodies or whatever, because you can always put a tight end out there. But I like this guy because he's good in jump ball situations. So hopefully they take advantage of that. But my favorite, if I had to say, knowing Mario's style of play, I'm gonna go Martinez, just because it reminded me of some of Frank Gore. I'm a Niners fan as well. But just his running style, man, behind that offensive line, I think is going to be a problem. And then, oh, okay, we'll give you a rest, and then we're going to bring in 6'2", 6'3", 230 something Mark Flexer. Ouch. So I like Martinez.
Yeah. No, and you mentioned the whole thing about him maybe not having blazing speed, but you could see him pulling away from guys.
Yes,
I saw the highlights.
Yes.
Yeah, playing running back and probably playing receiver, just having the ball in your hands in general, being able to pull away from guys, it's kind of a skill. It's not just pure God-given speed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like Madden, you just hold the turbo button down the whole time. No, it's like kind of those little stutter steps and changing speeds and kind of the little head fakes. That's what kind of helps you break away also. It's not just about speed.
And vision too, and he's got that.
Oh, absolutely. Vision. So before we were talking a little bit about it right before we went live, anytime something happens newsworthy wise, Canes football related, the FSU fans chime in. We'll get into that in a second. I want to kind of leave that for the end. But as far as what's next for Miami in the portal, because look, I believe it's until midnight tonight that they can officially submit their paperwork. So guys can still leave. We may not hear about it tonight. We may hear about it later on. It's a very weird thing, but they have till tonight, midnight to submit it. I want to say, Donald, maybe you can back me up on this. That's Barrow was visiting. He was completing his visit today, I think. So things are still happening.
I think they're having dinner, or they did a little earlier. I know that there was going to be a big dinner tonight at some point. So I think he's leaving tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. So things are still very much like moving right now as far as guys possibly leaving, guys possibly coming in. Alex, I'll start with you. Like, what do you think is the number of guys? And it could be a thing that it's fluid. The number can change. But what do you think, at the very least, the amount of guys that should be brought in, or the amount of holes that we need to plug? What's the number in your mind?
I think 2 or 3 more players are needed, and all defense. I think that they're basically done with the offense. And unless they like find maybe an interior offensive lineman that they love. There was some talk about them looking at one, the young guy from USC. His name escapes me now, but he started trending away. But I think they're going to focus primarily on defense, and I think and it's been exhausting, like keeping up with the numbers. I think they're right now around, including the freshmen who haven't arrived yet. I think they're around 84 scholarships right now, I think. So obviously, if you want to bring in 2 or 3 more guys, at least 1 or 2 more guys would have to leave. So you're at 85. So yeah, so like you said, John, I think a couple more Miami players will leave. We may hear about it tonight. We may not hear about it till tomorrow. But yeah, I think you mentioned Simeon Barrow, who's a really productive defensive tackle at Michigan State. He's visiting now, and this would be a great get. I know that there was a lot of disappointment, for myself included, that his teammate Derek Harmon did not make it for a visit. It sounds like Colorado did whatever they could to keep him from making that visit, and power to them for that, because they're different players. Harmon is bigger and more of a space eater. He's not as proven as Barrow. Barrow he's a little older. He's accomplished more on the field. But I listened to a breakdown that my colleague who does Locked On Spartans, who does the Michigan State show, he described Simeon Barrow as arguably the best defensive player at Michigan State the last 2 years. Like not the best defensive lineman, arguably their best defensive player the last 2 years. So if Miami can get this guy, I know LSU's been very much in it for him. That would be a big get to solidify the defensive line. The evidence shows you Miami has been looking at defensive ends. I think that they're still very interested in Tyler Barron, who visited over the weekend. Out of the 5 guys who visited last weekend, he's the only one who hasn't committed to Miami, at least not yet. Was at Tennessee. He technically was a Louisville player, but he never actually played for them. He transferred there and transferred right out. So I think they're still kind of awaiting an answer from him, seeing if he takes any more visits. And then I don't know. We've heard some like rumors about, has there been a secret visitor or maybe a safety? Just based on the fact that Miami just lost Savion Riley, who I think he was going to play a lot here. Like I know anytime a player leaves, Miami fans all want to be like, well, okay, this guy wasn't going to play here. It's not. I mean, I went to almost every spring practice, and Riley was getting a lot of first team reps. Like Savion Riley would have played here, so I don't exactly know why he decided to leave, but he's gone, and so I could see Miami looking at a safety. So I think defensive tackle, possibly defensive end, probably a safety, and that's probably it.
Yeah, no, again, the Savion Riley one really surprised me. Great speed, freak athlete. I thought, oh, easily in the rotation too deep with Jaden Harris. That combination, I mean, him and Jaden Harris, both great speed, but yeah, that one really, really surprised me. Mike, I'll throw a similar question to you. What would you hope they target? If they just have a couple spots left, like Dono said, 2-3 spots, what would you hope they target? Maybe a second D tackle, maybe a second running back? Like, what's on your wish list?
I mean, I'm 40 years old. I'm not no Canes, warlord or anything like that. But the best Canes defenses I've seen have always had an awesome front four, right? Give me another guy that can get in. It doesn't even have to. I always say it all the time. You probably already even know what I'm going to say. That you just need a defensive tackle to get in the backfield and create havoc. To do what? To free up linebackers with what? With speed. Oh my God, I just can't get over this linebacker position. So give me, to answer your question, short and sweet, give me a guy that's going to disrupt and be. Mario always talks about. He always talks about guys being tough, being physical, and having violent hands. Give me a guy that fits that bill. Okay, if he was productive at Michigan State, then great. You know what I mean? And by the way, there's a guy that put his name in the portal. Forget his name, but a safety for Michigan State. So maybe we don't get both D tackles from Michigan State, but maybe we get that safety who looks good. He was a 4-star coming out of high school,
I'll tell you his name right now.
And maybe one of the D tackles. But
Jaden Mangum, I think is his name.
There you go. Seen again, not a guy that I paid attention to throughout the season. I can sit here and lie to you. I watch a lot of SEC football and a lot of ACC football for obvious reasons, but the tape looked good, for the minimum 30 seconds that I saw, whatever. But that's a thing. But to answer your question, give me a D tackle, not just any D tackle. Give me a difference maker because of that reason. Because if you can create pressure with just 4. And then allow the linebackers to do their things. Again, our linebackers with speed, because we have speed now in that room. It wasn't like that for the past however many years, with Manny, or even the good defense with the good defenses under Richt. There were good defenses, but they weren't speed linebackers like the Sean Spences that we've used to seeing. You know what I mean? And we got that now. And I want to see it. I want to see it so bad, because another thing about this defense, it's going to be a lot of moving parts, a lot of interchangeable parts. It's going to confuse the hell out of quarterbacks, and I cannot wait to see it.
Oh, and one big piece of that, you talk about speed at linebacker, Cam Pruitt.
That dude, man.
You know what? Again, in the way college football's changed, a guy emerging like that, just kind of not out of nowhere, but I didn't expect this from him right out of the gate. That forces guys to maybe, make business decisions. You know what I mean?
We got to start recruiting more players from Alabama, because Cole McConaughey, that guy's a dude.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah, he caused some movement.
And they were, I think Pruitt eventually, like, he got a 4th star, like, very late, I think. But McConaughey, though, I think was a 3-star. It's like they're that's an under recruited area, right? I mean, everybody's paying attention to the Florida kids and the California kids and the Georgia kids. These Alabama kids go unnoticed because those guys are better than their recruiting rankings look.
Yeah. No, look, Bama can only take so many guys. There's going to be some guys left out, Yeah. So lastly, Don, I know you gotta go soon, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on this really quick because I know both of you guys have been doing battle with a few FSU people on Twitter. Well, X now. It's not Twitter anymore. But yeah, like, I don't know about you. I am proud to say, since we blasted them by 50 points in 2020, I have not clicked on or looked at any FSU content at all. I don't have the need to. I don't need that in my life. Whatever they do, great. None of my business. They don't feel the same way, apparently. Like, what's been like some of the weirdest stuff that you've seen? Because I've seen some. I've seen some zingers, like some comments that someone will just repost, like, this is factually incorrect. This is the actual stat. It's just like they have nothing better to do.
Well, it's just that they're just bizarre people. Because like from where I sit, you know, they made championship rings for their unconquered season, which that last game didn't count. Like to forget about that. Only the first 13 games counted, but like their team is really good, and their team was very good last year. So I find it odd because the Florida State fans that I encounter and the Florida State content creators that I see, because I pay attention to content creators from very much so because I also host Locked On ACC now, so I have to be monitoring all this stuff. And there's just this bizarre culture with Florida State people where they don't really talk about their team. Like all that they talk about is, oh, can you guys believe how terrible Miami is? Can you guys believe how terrible Florida is? Can you guys believe how awful Kirk Herbstreit is? And, you know, how, Florida State is going to win this lawsuit by June and we're going to be out of the, like, all they talk about is this external stuff. Like they don't talk about their own players, and that's from their content creators. And it definitely trickles down to their fans where, guys, they know more about Miami's roster than they know about their own, just for trolling ammunition. It's this weird thing. And it's like, you know, I can only argue so much because, yeah, their team has beaten my team 3 straight years. No argument there. That happened. It's factual. I have to deal with it, right? Their team has been much better overall the last 2 years than Miami has been. That is factual. I have to deal with that. I have to live with that. But it's just this strange culture where it's like they care, and maybe I respect it in a weird way, where they care more about the troll than they actually care about what's going on with their team. And when you talk about like factually incorrect stuff, there's this thing that that they're passing around about how 15 out of Miami's 22 starters next year are going to be transfer players. And it's like, and I'm not going to say an argument because I'm pretty civil with people, but a fan showed up in my mentions about how shameful that is, and I'm like, well, tell me who are the 15? Like that's not factually correct. And that was going around at a time like, okay, I don't know. Miami's not done adding transfer players, so maybe it'll be closer to 15, but it's not 15. And it's just weird. And then they seem to know about, when somebody leaves Miami, it's because an NIL check bounced. It's like, well, yeah, that sounds like you made that up. I don't know. So it's a lot of stuff. I probably shouldn't be as annoyed as I am, but it's just, it does get a little annoying.
The internet is a fascinating place.
Whenever you want to find out news about Miami, you go to a Knowles board. I mean, it's
true. I get more Miami news on the Knowles board than I do on the Miami boards.
And it's like instant.
Yeah. There was one guy that did like this whole science project, and he was really, really proud of it. And he like broke down. I didn't even understand it. I read it like 3 times, and I don't know. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
With the portal ratings, like adding like the decimal points.
And he was proud of them being up by like decimal points. It's like, dude, what? Like, are you?
Yeah.
Anybody at this point, unless you're new to this, maybe he was new to this. Maybe he's a new guy. Maybe he's like 25 years old. I don't know. But anybody that doesn't get about this rivalry, that you're gonna have your streaks, you're gonna have your 3 in a rows, you're gonna have your 7 in a rows. Miami had 6 in a row more than once.
We had 4 in a row recently,
and that's how this rivalry works. So like the numbers are great, this and that. I just think they're really annoyed, and there's something that Donald said made me think about this. I just think that they're really annoyed that no matter what they do, they can't get over the Miami like hump. Yeah, you're gonna beat me, you're gonna beat us. The series is almost neck and neck. Miami's has that edge. I mean, has the edge in natties.
Yeah,
but we never won an ACC championship. That's the thing that they stick to. I think FSU fans care about more conference championships than they do national championships because they talk about it so freaking much. But I don't know, man. It's just it's weird. But yeah, that guy that did that whole decimal breakdown needs a life.
Yeah, I saw that, and I looked at it for 3 seconds. I'm like, I don't understand what's the point, and I moved on with my life. Like I tried to understand, but I didn't really try that hard.
Dude, it's just my whole thing is Yeah, okay, they've won 3 in a row. They act like number 1, it's been 20 in a row, and number 2, that it's going to be forever. I got news for you. I'm 37. I've been watching this program for a long time. I've seen the streaks, like Mike said, the 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 5 in a row. It goes back and forth like any sports rivalry. So if you're an FSU fan and you're new to all this, well, hate to break it to you, it's going to end.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed it's going to end. So sorry. Anyway, Donald, I know you got dinner with your family. I don't want to hold you up, but
I appreciate it. No problem.
No, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. It's nice seeing you both. And Mike, it's always nice to see. I remember one time I randomly ran into Mike at a Panera Bread. So this dude is everywhere.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, man. Enjoy dinner with your family. Take care.
Go Canes.
Go Canes. Good dude, man.
That was a man, bro. He's a man.
But Doom, yeah, I don't know if you've seen this. Well, you watch our Sunday night shows, Doom, with the pictures of me as a president.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah, that's supposed to be me. Yes.
God.
Yes. Thank you for the $2 dono, sir. Appreciate it. Mitch, yeah, great comment. No, there was a comment he made. I think it was this one. It's a good point. Fair point. I wanted to touch on this. So who's to say Blount and Scott won't come in and show out like Bane did last year as a freshman? I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Would love to see that.
Yeah, could very well happen. I hope so, because like Armando Blount, Justin Scott are the caliber of D tackles we used to get. We're starting to get that again. Yeah, and I hope they both stick around because they both have promising futures. Justin Scott's probably going to get in the rotation this year. I think he's just that much of an animal. But like Donna was saying earlier, you have to look at it from a business perspective. You got this QB for 1 year.
Well,
I need to win now. I can't roll the dice because nobody is a can't miss prospect. You know, as much as I say, Justin Scott very likely going to be in the rotation, but I could be wrong. We could all be wrong about him, but I see what they're doing, man. I really do. I don't know about you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe it's just something that I'm assuming because he did come out, he reclassified. Is the plan for Blount to play this year?
So he has, I would think, because I think he just turned 17.
Right.
So he's coming in very young. Now, the thing with him that I always heard from the experts, I heard Bluestein talk about it, like Armando Blount, he's a specimen physically, and also he's very mature, very intelligent, had amazing grades, checks off all the boxes. But 17 is 17.
Exactly.
A kid is a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I would think he's going to redshirt. But
I've heard yourself to college life, to being around older guys.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, but I've heard people say, don't be surprised if he plays. I'm like,
I'm for it.
Look, if he's that good, I'm not going to say no. But
and Mario plays freshman, so hey, let the line begin, man. Jesus, oh my God, no.
Yeah, it's but no, look, and that's a fair point by Mitch. That could very well happen, but why not both? Keep those guys. Grab a veteran, let the cream rise to the top.
The ideal situation, and this is like ideal situation. Just imagine Miami's up in a majority of games or a good amount of games for these guys to get significant snaps in like the second half. Right? That would be ideal going into year 2 for them. Or maybe this is I don't know, call it better. You got 4 games. You let them play 4, and then you can still redshirt them. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I would love to see that for sure. But I remember back in the day and I hope this happens at least, at at least 4, 5, 6 occasions this year. I think it could, where we are blowing a team out and these young guys can come in and get garbage time and pop-up duty.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Because I vividly remember sitting in the Orange Bowl. Sean Taylor, Mo Sykes, they take a seat in the second half. You'd see Greg Threet. You'd see Brandon Merriweather. You'd see, who else? Kelly Jennings. They'd come in as freshmen and sophomores.
Gore came in and doesn't he have like the most rushing I don't know if it's the most rushing, not most rushing yards. He has the highest yards per carry as a as a freshman running back year. I think he had like 9 yards a carry as a freshman at UM, and he finished his freshman year with like 300 yards, I think, something like that.
In 01, yeah, he averaged like 9.5 yards a carry, something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
And
Because
it wasn't on no 10 carries either. It was a good amount of carries.
No, multiple games. It was the Thursday night game against
West Virginia.
West Virginia that year.
Killed it.
The Syracuse game that we annihilated them. The Washington game, back-to-back weeks.
Yep.
Those games, he would come in the fourth quarter and get multiple carries, and there would at least be one carry. It was like Lamar Miller, at least one carry per game that he housed in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
So like you said, that would be ideal. Have guys and at multiple positions too. Because Miami's got some guys that could play pretty much on any roster. They can command snaps, and that Miami's just in a good position. We haven't been in this in a long time, man.
Yeah, no. It's you see the layers now of depth at certain areas. No, I like it a lot. I think Lyle's going to play. Yeah, I agree. Jordan Lyle physically looks the part already. It sucks that he could not come in for spring. But yeah, can't wait to see that dude. Chris Wheatley Humphrey looked good in spring. God. Very quick and explosive.
And that's another guy that's going to push Johnson from last year, because he was like the only speed back last year. But then you bring in Wheatley Humphrey, so you got somebody just like me, and it's and I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing part of the reason, because obviously I don't know the whole thing. I'm not in the building, as to why you're seeing some guys say, you know what, man, I probably can get some snaps here elsewhere, because Mario tells these guys that, like, look, I'm going to bring in a guy to push you, and that's the old Kane way. That's the old Kane way. You wouldn't see the field until you were a junior, and you had to deal with it. There was no transfer portal. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see that, man. It's nice to see that.
Yeah. Remember my dad asking who this guy. I think Flying Pike. I'm guessing you're talking about the running back coach hire.
No, he had the comment under that. He was talking about Gore. He just misspelled Gore. He put hire by mistake.
Oh, gotcha.
He was talking about seeing Gore as a freshman.
Gore was amazing. Okay, yeah. Got it. Yeah, no, he was, man. I remember, man. When I was a freshman in high school, that 01 year, and I remember he was a friend of the family. He was an assistant coach on Coral Gables, so he knew Frank Gore, and he was. Okay. I remember he would tell me stories about Gore and Vilma. Like when they were first coming into UM. It's like, watch this Gore kid, and he ended up being right.
A Hall of Famer, right? So here's my high school Frank Gore story. I never played football. I went to Coral Park. Never played football. Went to a lot of football games, right? I was a basketball and a track guy. So I went to the game. We played Coral Gables at Tropical Park. We held Frank Gore to 8 rushing yards in the first quarter. He ended up with like 280 something at the end of the game. And I'm just like, damn, this kid is, wow. And I mean, I knew he was going to be good coming in. You see him in high school. I was paying a lot of attention to high school recruiting back then. And the rest of the story. The rest is history, man.
Oh, absolutely. So this is a good question right here. Sam Brown versus Chance. Well, from a who's ready right now, obviously it's Sam Brown. Right. That's no question. But who has the higher ceiling? That's an interesting question.
I'll probably just higher ceiling. I'm gonna have to say Chance just because we haven't seen him. Just because we haven't seen him, and the early returns on him is that he's killing it in the spring. Also, he came in early, so we know that the January guys always have a leg up because of that experience in the spring ball and the winter, that winter workouts that Mario loves to have. And he fits the part. He fits the part of I think he should have been a 5-star guy. I think he should have been a 5-star guy because he has the height, he has the measurables, and whatever. But just ceiling, I'll go Chances, because you just don't know. We've seen what Brown could do. Fast guy, runs a 4.4. To me, that's fast when you're 6'2" and whatever, 2 and some change. But and Brown has 1 year too, right?
Let me check on that. 1 second. I know of the guys we brought in, I think Martinez might have been the only one that had 2 years, but he's probably, God willing, he's so good he's only here for a year.
Right.
But let me see. Samuel Brown, 247. Yeah, I want to say he just has 1 year.
Okay,
Houston
me
wide
too.
receiver.
I think Deani has 2. Deani Hill has 2 years, and that's a
yeah, because he first enrolled. I want to say 29 decommits from UCF. Visits Florida. Oh no, he enrolled in 2020.
Okay.
So if you count that free COVID year they all got, yeah, he may have 2 years actually.
Anderson says 2. I'll take 2, man.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it. I think he's gonna have a big, like, look, you never know with who's gonna start and how the competition goes, but I think needless to say, he's gonna see a lot of targets, he's gonna see a lot of snaps. And I think with the addition of him, I think you can't just zero in on X, you know what I mean? Because 2 left, everybody says 2. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So everybody knows, X probably is going to have a target on his back this year. Like, this is the go-to guy for the past 2 seasons, whatever. I don't think defenses can do that anymore. I don't think defenses don't know what they're going to get out of the tight end position. Miami knows what they have there in terms of what Arroyo looks like. He looks like a freaking the size of a refrigerator on wheels. The guy can move. He's, all of that stuff. So that's a weapon that defenses aren't going to have any tape on or what have you. But I just think that you're not going to be able to pay attention to one guy defensively. And, and then obviously the O-line that Cam Ward didn't have last year is just setting up to be a perfect storm. I don't want to get ahead of myself. There was an article that some guy, I think for CBS, wrote, and he predicted Miami's record. And he said 9-3. He had us losing to Louisville, FSU, and USF.
No, I think one of them was Ball State. I think he had us losing in an upset. I know the one you're talking about.
It was UCF for sure. I know it was FSU. I know it was USF, not UCF.
No,
USF.
it might have been USF. That might be the upset.
Yeah.
USF, FSU, and whichever one was the third.
How do you feel about that? Look, don't ask me for record stuff. It's not don't. But how do you feel about if we finish the season 9-3? Failure or no?
I don't think. I mean, I don't want to give the cop-out answer and say it depends, but it kind of depends. Not just 9-3 on paper. Yeah, 5 wins to 7 wins to 9 wins. Yes, it's an improvement. It's successful, but I don't know, man. If you asked me that 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, yeah, I'd say 9-3, solid. That's, if you asked me that a few weeks ago, solid.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the additions we're adding, and Mario's just like gone berserk. He's like he's snapped in a good way. He's like, that's it. We're going all in. I'm winning. I'm shutting up. I'm shutting everybody up this year. We're not waiting.
Yeah.
So for that reason, and because one of the 3 losses is predicted to be, by this guy was predicted to be USF, it's like, no, I'm sorry, that's a failure. that is an absolute failure. You cannot lose. No, you cannot lose to USF.
Let's just say Miami's able to beat FSU and Florida. If you lose to USF, that kind of just tarnishes the state championship, thing. Like if you lose,
it does. Now, if you told me we go 11-1 and our 1 loss was USF, 11-1 is different. That I can accept. No, because look, upsets happen all the time.
Yeah.
You trip up at some point. Say you slip up against them. Hey, Alabama almost did last year.
Right. Yeah.
But you win every other game. You beat FSU and Florida in the same year. I'm pretty happy. I'm not even.
Right. Listen, I'll take it. Now let me ask you.
I'm not even too concerned about the rest of the record. I hope the rest of the record's good. But if Genie from Aladdin comes out of the bottle right now and says, "Hey, I'll tell you this: we're going to beat US. We're going to beat FSU, and we're going to beat Florida."
And you're gonna have,
but the rest is out of your control. I'm like, I'm good. I'll take it. Let the chips fall where they may.
what about this? Because this I struggle with, and I haven't answered myself. Top 12, does Miami finish the season top 12 going into the playoffs? Like, how do you feel if Miami doesn't make the playoffs? You know what I mean? Like, let's say you go to Charlotte, win or lose. Let's say you make it to Charlotte, win or lose, but you don't get in the top 12. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know if that's terrible. If it's not, I don't know. I don't know. Because okay, we all know that we're going all in, right? We're going all in. We got Cam for 1 year. Okay, cool. Does that mean you have to win the ACC? Does it mean you have to get in the playoffs? I will say this: it does mean you have to win a bowl game. That I will say. That I will say. You have to win a bowl game. I just don't know if you have to win the ACC, and I don't know if you have to get in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm still iffy on that.
That's the thing. The past like 2-3 weeks, the expectations have
man.
gone up.
Like I gotta, you know.
That's the thing. I definitely think this team is they're building themselves up to make a run at that ACC title now.
Yeah.
And look,
and it's not a pipe dream.
No, look, Clemson is not 2017 Clemson with Trevor Lawrence back there slicing up defenses. He's, it's, and their defensive line were all, remember that 1 year, I think it was the year we played them in the ACC title game, that all 4 guys got drafted in the first round or something crazy like that.
Wilkerson was one of them.
Carroll, I think, was one of them.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the other 2 guys, but yeah, they were loaded. They're not that Clemson team anymore. Not even close. They're a solid team. They'll win their 8-9.
They won 10 games 2 years ago, for crying out loud.
Yeah, so they'll win 8 to 10 games. They're competitive. They're a good team, well coached.
Yep.
I don't, but you go up against them or FSU. I kind of put FSU in the same category. They're probably going to be like a 9-ish, 10-ish win team this year. I'm, just assuming. I can't name everybody on their roster like they can with our guys, but they'll be solid. Us against either one of those 2 teams, I don't see it. Nothing scares me. Like, who scares you in the conference right
now? No, it's literally wide open. To be, to be boring, it literally is wide open between those 2 teams or 3 teams. I don't think we lay an egg with Cam's leadership. I love his leadership.
Go back to covering JV Columbus football. I would love to cover JV Columbus football. That'd be fun, actually. My alma mater. Let's see. No more. Come on. There we go. No more than 2 regular season losses in an ACC championship. Yeah, that's kind of my expectations are kind of like gravitating towards that. I was like, listen, this isn't what I want, but my expectations, because I've been disappointed so many times, is like, look, I'm expecting 8 to 9 wins, nothing crazy. But it really seems like Mario's going, like, putting all his chips in. So I'm like, yeah, my expectations are going up. So
it's 2 things for me, and it has nothing to do with on the field and everything to do with intangibles and up here. The first thing is this: Cam came here to up his stock because he believes he's a first day pick, a day 1 quarterback, right? Maybe a first quarterback taken. I don't know. He believes in himself. He didn't come here to mess around. So you're going to get the best version of Cam Ward, right? Right. That's one. And then the other one is what we've been talking about, like, rallying whatever talent you can get around that. And, that's what Mario's doing. So the one that sticks out to me the most is where Cam is at mentally, because he didn't come here to play school. He came here to play first round football. That's what he came here to do. So I think that's what we're not going to play in the bowl game. Oh God. Don't even go there.
Listen.
Don't even go there.
Listen, he's probably right if we don't make the playoff. If we don't make the playoff, he's probably right. He would play. I think he would play in the ACC title game, even if, let's say, we have a couple losses. We 10-2 going into the. I think winning the ACC and 10-2 doesn't quite get you in. It's just the ACC is just not strong enough. That's just my opinion. You have to go at least like 11-1. But 10-2 ACC championship game, Cam will play. But I don't think he plays beyond that.
I agree. If he gets in the playoffs, I think everybody's
obviously, he would play.
He'll go in. But what if it's one of these, really good bowls, that it's not, in the playoffs. Like, I don't even know what it's structured. Like, I can't even speak on that because I don't even know like what bowl is going to be in like who. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it, but we'll see.
Some teams are hosting a playoff game like in their stadium.
That's true.
So
that's right.
like,
that's right. I think that's so cool.
It's going to be kind of crazy. Yeah, that's going to be kind of cool. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Kind
of like the NIT, you get to host games on your home court.
Which I kind of wish the big tournament did that, but whatever.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So Jay Singh says, we predicted 8-9 wins when Poff committed. How are we still setting that as the floor when better proven?
Because we're conditioned to think that way. That's why.
because we were a kneel down away from winning 8 or 9 last year.
Man,
dude.
Jesus
We've been this fan base has been like traumatized and screwed over so many times. I mean, look, our own team's university didn't want to fund athletics. Like it's like we've been screwed so many years.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What Wes said is that's the thing right there. Mario better only walk into offensive line meetings for the whole season. Like just leave everything else to what's his name? Our coordinator.
Guidry and Dawson.
And Dawson, yes. Lance to Dawson, not Lance. It's Lance Guidry. What's Dawson's first name? I'm drawing a blank here.
Shannon Dawson.
Him. Yes.
Shannon.
Don't you dare go into a quarterback meeting. Don't you nothing. O-line, go with Mirabal, and that's it.
Yeah, but no, to answer his question. Yeah, we were saying 8-9 wins with Pop. Yeah, because Cam Ward gives you an extra couple wins. He makes that big of a difference.
Yeah.
And quarterback, as we saw last year, is that important. Quarterback can win you those extra couple games. Bad quarterback play can tank a couple of games for you, which is exactly what happened.
Yep. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Any update on new facilities? Was all that a lie? I don't have any. I don't know if you know any insider stuff on this. I don't personally don't have an update on the facility.
Definitely not a lie.
No, it's not a lie. I know something they are legitimately working on. But it's construction, man.
Yeah. Like they the last time I was on campus was December. And I know that the construction that's going on in that area isn't for the new football facility. That's for the new dorm that's going up in front of the gym, in front of the wellness center, I should say. But it's going to be in that area. And no, it wasn't. I don't know what the hiccup is, but I know for damn sure it wasn't a lie. Like, I know funding for that is probably going on behind the scenes or whatever and all of that stuff. But you know what? I'll have an answer for you, and I'll tell you on Friday. A Friday around 6 o'clock, I'll tell you, because I'm going into a Zoom. I'll ask about it, and I'll tell you so you can share with your audience whenever you're going next week.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
I'll do that.
I'll keep that in mind. And I'll coming up on the hour, so I'll end with this. Who are our kick returners and punt returners? Oh, we're addressing everything. Where is Hester Santana 2.0?
I think they're on the roster.
You think they're on the roster?
Oh, hell yeah. You're talking about Ray. Okay, you're talking about Wheatley, Humphrey. You're talking about CJ. You're talking about Robbie Washington. Those are 4 guys. 9 cars, 5.
I would love to see CJ or Wheatley Humphrey returning kicks. That would be nice.
Yeah. Like, and X got not X. I say X. I don't know why I say X, because he reminds me of Braxton Berrios in the sense of returning punts. Braxton Berrios used to get a lot of heat. And I'm like, why? The guy never made mistakes. He never muffed a punt. And oh, by the way, when he got into the league, his first year with the Jets, right? He was like a top 5 punt returner.
He made the Pro Bowl, I think, as a
punt returner, as a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Or is year 2, whatever the case. But I don't think we're going to see. I think Mario's still going to want that safe guy, the smart guy, the guy, whatever. But they're going to have some giddy up. Like, I just named 5 guys. Okay, CJ, Wheatley Humphrey, Nightcar, Washington, and I'm missing one. Okay, Ray. But the speed and the shift, it's there. I am not concerned about that.
One guy that I think would be an awesome returner, and probably if this was 20 years ago, they'd probably put him in, but they wouldn't nowadays, would be JoJo Trader.
Oh, that guy's he's an athlete. What can you say about that guy? Hell
I-
yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if people see it as kind of a dice roll, do you put your potential star receiver in that spot? You know, I mean, he
Andre
is just a
Johnson returned
freshman.
kicks. You said that was 20 years ago, but yeah. Yeah. Andre Johnson returned kicks at one point. Santana, he said Santana was a number one guy. Yeah, man. Hey, look, a lot of times it used to be with Miami football, you put your best athletes to play special teams. That's just how it was. So
That just makes sense to me.
Put-
But yeah, 9 o'clock. I think we'll end on that. Mike, appreciate it as always. We can go on and on probably for another hour, but I'll leave it at that. We have families to get back to.
Yeah.
So
my night isn't over. I want to hop on with Max. I have no life.
oh, nice. Oh, you heard it, guys. Go tune into that. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks to everybody for being hopping onto the chat. We have 118 in the chat right now.
Sweet.
Nice turnout. Please hit
Yeah.
that like button, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Go Canes.
Thanks, man, for the invite. Go Canes.